Next week on Thursday, Chapter 32, 2 o'clock tomorrow. The phone rang less than half an hour later. It's me. David was on his cell phone. I'm on my way back. Did you make it on time? Yes, just. There were about 20 cars parked outside and the place was milling with people. The door was opened, so I walked in. And? I stood there not knowing what to do till Gloria walked by. She thought I'd come to sit shiva. She seemed happy to see me. She did? Uh-huh. I gave her a hug and told her we were sorry we hadn't been able to talk to her yesterday, and the loaf and the dessert were an expression of our affection for Harold and for her. What did she say? Her eyes brightened when she saw the bowl. She said, "Mango, my favorite." She said that? Yes. Oh, and she said we were welcome to come tomorrow. I told her you were probably not up to it. I'll be home in a couple of minutes. See you in a bit. Okay. The residual constriction in my rib cage disappeared. There was no logical explanation. I didn't look for one. I printed off all the emails, mine to Harold and his to me, the little notes and humor we shared almost daily during the final weeks of his life. Harold wrote. I signed on, hoping to hear from a friend, and you're the best. I wrote, see you on Thursday. He wrote, I can't wait. I put 36 printed sheets, give or take a few, away in a folder to read when the grief mellowed and the memories became sweet again. I had lengthy conversations with Harold in my head. Remember the time I told you about Joe's wife when they considered turning the machines off because there was nothing more to be done for her? Harold in my head nodded. You lifted your shirt and gazed intently at the plastic protrusion piercing your abdomen. Your eyes welled and you bowed your head. I had to look away. I didn't want you to see the agony in mine. He smiled lopsidedly. She still clings to life, you know, and I continue to go every Thursday evening to sit with Joe at the hospital. I never expected her to outlive you. He looked apologetic. Remember when you got your diagnosis? Harold in my head nodded again. You told me. My father-in-law always said he'd go out laughing. That's what I'm going to do. You loved him, didn't you? He would have been proud of you. The chestnut eyes came alive. You rarely referred to your own father. The light in his eyes dimmed. He shrugged. Remember when your dad said when you introduced Gloria to the family? You told me, he said, it's easy to love a rich girl. I was horrified and sad for you. Harold wiggled his eyebrows. We never had a problem picking up each other's thoughts, did we? I smiled. He beamed back at me. Remember that horrible day in court? Your amplifier was useless. No one understood a word you uttered. I was in court with a lawyer who had no voice. It was a nightmare. And on the way back you insisted we stop somewhere for lunch. His gaze remained fixed on mine. I found a napkin from the restaurant in my journal. You had written on it, do you feel safe when I drive? Your handwriting is all spidery and shaky. We didn't get to eat, remember? You took one sip of juice and began to choke. I insisted we leave. You refused to let me drive. Harold was too weary to tap on his keyboard. He remained silent, his hands idle at his sides. You wouldn't let us close the case, and now you're gone, and I'm left high and dry with the trial coming up next year. For the first time, I'm beginning to wonder if you had my best interests at heart. He didn't reply. The only pictures I'll ever possess are the ones etched in my mind. My journal will be my photograph album. I'm so glad I kept my journal. Harold in my head disintegrated and dissolved into nothing. I sighed and opened my eyes. Stop it. Be thankful he's not suffering anymore, like Norma said. The conversations grew briefer with each passing day. The answering machine was flashing when I got home late one afternoon. Sonia, it's Gloria. Call me back, please. The voice grated on my ear. I was startled to discover how raw my emotions still were. I waited till David was home before I returned the call. Hello, Gloria, she said. I have to return your bowl. No superficial preamble. I'm glad you enjoyed the mousse. I'm sure David won't mind picking it up, I answered too quickly. Not anxious to see you. No, there's something I have to discuss with you as well. Could I come over? Dear God, what now? I hesitated. Could I come to the office? No, that won't be convenient. For whom? My heart thumped. Sure, Gloria. I'll work around your convenience. How about tomorrow afternoon? Okay, 2 o'clock is good. My hand shook as I replaced the receiver. I called a friend and cried my eyes out. Do you want me to be there for moral support, Selina, or as a witness? Catherine asked me. I loved and trusted her. No, Cat, it wouldn't be fair by Gloria, don't you think? It would seem like an ambush or something, wouldn't it? She made me promise to call her if I changed my mind. I said I would. A dreadful sense of doom descended on me. To be continued.